So I've created a new helical wheat farm. Here you can see my old one on the left, which is great, but the problem with it is it takes forever to refill. It takes like what feels like 10 or 15 minutes when you're replanting the thing, which really is not that efficient. So I decided to try to come up with a new model for a helical wheat farm that not only automatically harvests, but also somewhat automatically replants. Get some fog going so my computer will go faster. And here's what I came up with. It's not perfect, but it does increase your efficiency considerably. Right. It's smaller, as you can see. Much less farmland, but less time spent too. Hey, come back. Sorry about that. Okay. So what we're going to do is take out some seeds. Going to aim at the top part. See the back line on the lever. Click it, and start holding down right mouse button. And as I go along, I will plant the majority of these. You'll see that I sometimes miss 1 out of 3. But in order to rectify that, I just keep on holding it on the way back down as well, and I'll usually fill in the blanks. The whole trip up and down, this track works both ways, takes about a minute. So you do the back row like this, I'm going to do another trip up, another trip down, and that'll be a total of 2 minutes to plant pretty much the whole thing, with about 90% of them properly planted. So here we're getting towards the top. I'll show you that I'll just kind of bounce and keep going back down. Blink. And hopefully fill in any gaps that I left. I also grab the corner one sometimes as you're turning, which is fine. Oh, there's one there, see? And one there, but that's okay. Anyways, I'll skip back down to the bottom. When you get to the bottom here, you're going to want to jump out. Turn off the lever. Come back in. Get some seeds ready, and this time you're going to aim at the bottom part of this lever here. Like so. And that should give you access to the bottom row. Sorry about that lagginess, if that comes through in the video. So it's very important to aim this precisely, because if you aim a little bit too low on the first pass, you'll hit the front row. And as you can see, as you pass, when you plant a seed, it makes a little box on top of the tilled soil. And the front row will actually get in your way, so you can't actually plant ones behind things that are in front. So you got to do the back row first. Front row, if you aim too low, you'll actually get out of the cart as you're going up the hills or down the hills, because it'll twist and you'll accidentally partially right-click on it, and the cart will think you want to exit and keep going on its merry little way, which is not what you want. Anyways, so we're coming back down, filling in most of the gaps. It's okay if there are a few holes. Saving massive amounts of time, and switch seeds if you start running out. And then jump out. Should really find a way to stop this faster. Okay, so we have them all planted. Perfect. Now you can either wait for them to grow, which they will do. I have torches, and I've actually heard that farmland lets light through. I don't know if that's true or not, but in any case, they will grow. Or if you're impatient, like me, and you happen to have a mob grinder, goddammit, lying around, which gives you ridiculous amounts of bone meal, you can. So you have to aim higher than is possible while clicking on this lever. So click it and then aim a little bit higher. And you should get the back row if you do it right. Bam, bam, bam. Go all the way up. Now, this is not the most efficient method actually, because on your way back down, if you're aiming at something that's already grown, you'll still put bone meal in it for some reason, which is kind of strange. But it works on the way up, and if you have enough bone meal to spare, which you probably do, like I said, if you have a mob grinder, you'll get a lot of it. You can just kind of take that in stride, and it'll be probably worth your time anyways. All the way up. And you'll see if you watch my hand, I'll still be giving it to those guys even though it doesn't do anything. Which is kind of unfortunate, but hey. And then you can do it again with the front row afterwards. I'll skip that for you. Alright, so I've arrived back at the bottom. As you can see, I've successfully grown most of my crops automatically. And I'm going to go back up and show you how it drains and clears out all the wheat. Now, if you've done all this properly, then you can have grown all of this wheat in, I think, about 4 minutes, because it takes about a minute to go up and down, and you go up and down twice to plant and twice to grow them all using the bones. Or you can just wait, of course, and let them grow themselves. The only problem is switching which item you're using currently, because if you run out of a stack, you're going to have to switch over to the next one. And I considered adding in a system, which is pretty feasible. I think it would just make it a bit uglier than it is, where you can have a dispenser at the top that gets activated when you send your cart off, and the dispenser will just be spitting out like seeds or whatever you want right here across the track. And as you come up here, you can pick them up automatically, and given the way Minecraft picks up new objects, it'll probably be added to your current stack of seeds, and thus refill you for the way back down. So you can do it totally automatically, but I don't really mind switching stacks occasionally. You can have your eyes closed most of the other time if you want to. So here we go. I have my little square here. I put my water. Whoosh. And it goes all the way around. As you can see, these pressure plates are keeping the water from spilling over here and destroying my rails, which would be bad. And we have some ladders in this gap down here, which allow all of the objects to fall straight down. So this farm has solved the problem of long trips, actually better than my old one, I think, because the longest trip any item is going to have to make is just go to the edge of its row, fall into this hole here, fall straight down through the entire farm, and end up in the collection chute at the very bottom, which I'm in right now, which is underneath everything, and goes down into my collection room. So down in my collection room down here, should have the rest of the wheat that I didn't just pick up. Beautiful. And now the thing is, with this model, you will get a lot of objects that just get pushed to the edge, like this, because they'll be pushed by a higher level, a bit sideways. See how the water's going sideways? They'll fall down through here and just barely clip a lower level. So what you can do to pick these up, though, conveniently enough, is just ride back up to the top, which you probably want to do anyways. When you get close enough, you'll pick them up automatically. And I've made it so that every square on the side is within reaching distance of your cart. This way you can pick up all the extras when you're at the top, and you can pick up the bucket, and it should drain itself, and hopefully restore a decent amount of frame rate to my poor little laptop. One small thing to note, I've actually learned recently that corner pieces like this won't give you any wheat because the water's flowing straight down onto the wheat, and water flowing straight down onto wheat apparently destroys it rather than actually cultivating the crops. So I just made all the corner pieces green wool so that I wouldn't accidentally put stuff on them later. That's basically the idea for my farm. So the thing I've discovered, to sum everything up, is that if you're in a minecart, you can reach up to that far away. And it's only those two squares that will work, because if you come closer, you'll accidentally come out of your minecart when you go around corners, because you'll click on it and pop out. And farther away you just can't reach. So it's possible to plant on two tilled squares that distance away exactly. Now the problem is, this really only lends itself to making 2 square wide farms, unless you're going to have your track go up the other way and make it 4 wide or something like that. But you're going to have your farm extremely long, which is kind of inconvenient. And also you have to have tracks next to it, which is a problem if you're trying to auto-harvest, since tracks are destroyed by water, as you probably know. So I've solved both of these problems by first of all winding up my entire farm, which is essentially just a long strip, into a little helix so that it's more space efficient and looks prettier. And also I've put these stone pressure plates in one of the gap squares that I don't need between the space I can reach and my cart track, so that the water will be stopped and not destroy my entire cart track. And in between I have another square that I've used as my drop chute, like I said, and the reason for that is that if this was filled in, you couldn't actually empty this out the way I emptied out my previous spiral wheat farm, because the objects just get pushed out onto these pressure plates. So it's essentially just a very tight little spiral. There's one block of water going all the way down, which hydrates everything. And this outside part for walking around is just to make it pretty and round, because in actuality it's a square helix, which is, not as pretty to look at as this nice round one I've made around it. As a side note, I think you could solve the problem of having objects falling on levels below by killing their sideways movement. So they're getting washed a bit sideways, and they're getting dropped, and they're falling and landing on the bottom layers, on the edges, which is kind of annoying. What you could do is just lower these ladders by 1 block, so you'd have 1 block of just downwards flowing water. And I think that would probably keep them from doing that. I haven't tried though, because it'd be kind of a big job to redo all this. But yeah, let me know what you think.